So when looking at the different types of fiber that are available to consumers today, I mean, you've got your, the food matrix presents soluble fiber, insoluble fiber, there's resistant starch. Maybe you can give us a lay of the land in terms of the different types of fiber that we should be seeking out in our diets.
Yeah, so to that point about soluble, insoluble, resistant starches, that was the prevailing theory or model for a while. And there's some more contextualization that's been added now. I think for most people to understand, that's a really good concept. But if you wanted to go deeper into the weeds on fiber, it's actually more useful to think about the viscosity of the fibers, the fermentability of the fibers, and the solubility of the fibers as well, and the prebiotic potential, right? Because prebiotic fibers are the ones that do the real heavy lifting for your microbiome. The sort of other fibers, which are mainly insoluble, they're good for adding bulk, but they don't do much else in terms of influencing the microbiome. So highly soluble, highly fermentable and low viscosity fibers are really well tolerated as well. And so things like the ones you get from beans, right? They're usually pretty well tolerated, very high solubility, high fermentability, and have high prebiotic function as well. But if we took it back to that sort of broad model, most fruits and vegetable will have some prebiotics, a mix of soluble and insoluble and resistant starches. And what I would say is more than focusing on specific foods, just try and get as much diversity as you can. Because what's the most important thing is, and I like to think of your colon and your intestines as the world map. And if you think of each part of your colon as a different continent, the right part is continent 1, the middle part, the transverse colon, is continent 2, and the last part, the distal colon or the descending colon, is continent 3. There are different populations of bacteria which live in each continent. They all like to consume slightly different foods and then produce different byproducts as a result. If we keep having a narrow intake of the same fibers, like we just eat broccoli and tomatoes and onions every single day, that's great, but not good. Because you need even more diversity to feed all the different continents and all the different bacteria which like their own little food types.
So it's great, but it's not ideal.
It's not ideal, yeah. So actually, next time you go to the supermarket or the grocers, is there something unique you've never tried before? Like, hey, how do I cook this eggplant or okra? Shall I just add that in? Because some of those foods, and especially foods which are like tuberous and root-based, cassavas and sweet potatoes and some of those foods, they're even more hardier to digest. And they make their way all the way to the distal colon, where you get the type of bacteria which are mostly butyrate producers. And that's real gold dust for your colonocytes, the cells of the colon.
Yeah, it's I've become obsessed with the concept of dark matter in food. I was listening to a previous guest of the show, Ty Beal, who's a nutrition scientist. He has his own podcast now, and on it he had a guest, Stephen Van Villet, I think is his name, and he was talking about the dark matter in food. When assessing the nutrition of a food, there's what the nutrition facts panel presents, but then there's all these countless chemicals in food that we have yet to even name, let alone measure their impact on human health. And so it's like when you're choosing a diverse array of foods, it's like you're hedging your bets. You're getting in all of these varied nutrients that are interacting with these trillions of microbes in a way that we have like some idea of what they're doing, but there's probably countless ways in which these foods that we have co-evolved with are positively impacting health.
If you go to your Whole Foods or Trader Joe's and you pick up a pack of raspberries. The raspberries has some total grams of sugar, maybe some dietary fiber, tells you the carbs, etc. It doesn't tell you the total polyphenol content or the antioxidant content, right? And we know polyphenols have this anti-inflammatory effect. Polyphenols actually so if you think of prebiotics as like a sword, it's like the armor for bacteria to go and fight. You're giving them ammunition, right? Polyphenols are like the shield. So now they've got the sword and they've got the shield. Polyphenols increase the efficacy and power of prebiotics. So they actually work in tandem and synergize. So when you have a fruit like a raspberry, which has got natural fibers and prebiotics and polyphenols, you've actually got like a real superpower food in one. And most people don't know that because it's not in the facts panel, right? And same for like fatty fish. It's got omega-3 acids, which are also a type of prebiotic. And yeah, like to your point, there are so many of these hidden nutrients within food. And I think it's a bit of a shame that most people don't know about this because it's not on the supplements panel and most people won't go and do their own reading. And even in medical school, I wasn't taught any of this. This is all post hoc analysis and post hoc readings and self-learning.
It's so cool. Yeah. And there's like, I love when learning about the different foods that are available, like, you know, counterintuitively, you'll hear stuff like raspberries, like one single serving of raspberries has like a crazy amount of fiber.
Yeah, I think if you have a cup, it's like 7 or 8 grams of fiber.
That's like almost a third of your daily requirement for fiber.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A pear has like, if I recall correctly, 7 grams of fiber in a...
Yeah, large pear, half an avocado, 5 grams. It's like pretty substantial amount.
Hey, if you like that video, you need to check out this one here, and I'll see you there.